and I did have some really supportive friends. And one friend, I still remember this. He was traveling. He wasn't even in town. He wasn't even in Utah. And he said, Jeff, he's like, how are you doing? I said, I'm fine. And I believed it. I wasn't even lying, but I wasn't fine. And he said, he hung up with me. And then he told me later, he said, the Spirit told me to come home. And he came home and he showed up at my house and we talked about it. We had a good cry. He prayed with me. He gave me a blessing. And I had the most profound experience, guys, where I felt my Savior with me saying, I want you to know what it feels like to be me, and I am bringing you closer to me. This is the path I walked. Now, mine is tiny compared to him, but it's now a special sacred thing because I know a little bit about what he felt like, right? Because he was accused falsely and he was punished for other people's things and he was lied about. And he said, Jeff, I just felt Jesus in my heart saying, with this friend, there's the power of the Spirit was so powerful saying, now you can be closer to me. You know what? I've always wanted to know my Savior closer, right? And this has actually been a gift because I do feel closer to Christ because of this experience.
I'm so tired of listening to you guys apologize to John DeLynn for existing. I'm so tired of you having to say sorry to people like that for just existing and being on the defensive and explaining yourself.
These are the same people that think Jesus and the 12 apostles were gay because the apostle John laid his head on Jesus's breast. Jeff, you admitted under oath that you are having gay massage orgies in your basement. Actually, when I walked in that courtroom, I have never felt such evil. Touch is really powerful.
It's helped me to sexualize men less. My relationships with men become more normal.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Ward Radio. I am your host, Cardinellis. Today I'm joined via Zoom by none other than Timber Harward, Jeff Benyon, and Jonah Barnes, Ward Librarian. And today we got a little bit of a debunking of a recent comment made on our channel. We just did a great episode with Jeff and Timber and all the guys, debunking a lot of the bogus statistics that a lot of anti-Mormons put up about, frankly, successful LGBT members in our church and the success of gay members in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And this angered a lot of anti-Mormons. Like, this got a lot of anti-Mormons angry. So we got this comment here, Jeff, that piqued my interest, shall I say. Okay. And this commenter says, so we're not going to talk about the fact that there are public records where Jeff Benyon acknowledges to attending and hosting gatherings where married gay men hold and cuddle each other and other activities where he and others were naked. And so first off, awesome premise. I don't know where we're going with this, but awesome premise. And second off, I thought immediately, we're going to allow you to respond and everything, okay? But I thought immediately of that Nicholas Klein quote. Are you familiar with the quote that is oftentimes mistakenly attributed to Gandhi, where he said, like, first they ignore you, then they lie about you, then they attack you and they want to burn you, and then they build monuments to you and you win. So I just thought, oh, hey, you're in stage 3, bro. Pretty soon, like, they're attacking you. And you know, anti-Mormon rule number 18 is always they accuse you of what they're woefully guilty of themselves. And, you know, we're going to give you a chance to debunk this and all this and all that. But what I really thought, what first came to my mind is I was like, welcome to the club, bro. You're about to get a monument. And I can just see.
Where's my statue?
Like David, like you're doing gay cuddle parties. So maybe you can just be like this, but then have a teddy bear, like a Mormon teddy bear, like David cuddling a teddy bear in a very just like tasteful, kind of Renaissance way. And we'll put it up in like one of the roundabouts that they build in one of those hipster neighborhoods they're trying to put in order.
I'm in like a toga with some laurel leaves or something.
Oh yeah.
That would be good. Tasteful.
All right, bro. So what is this? I saw John DeLynn did an episode a year or two ago in that fake channel Understanding Mormonism, which really should just be called Anti-Mormon Critiques of Mormonism. Just like
slandering Mormonism.
Yeah, just like Bill Reel says, oh, I got a new channel, Mormon Sunday School. And then it's all just anti-Mormon attacks and critiques, right? So I saw that there was an episode made about you. And
that was about North Star, our alleged cuddle parties.
Oh,
which I gotta say.
Yeah, so just take it away, dude. What's going on? Take it away.
I gotta say, I admire, John DeLynn has a lot of chutzpah to be trafficking in stories about hanky-panky in hotel rooms. I'm not going to say any more, but that's kind of bold on his part. When I heard him go there, I'm like, wow.
Really?
Okay,
I didn't see the episode, so I don't know if he went there or not. But okay, keep going.
We'll start with me, and then we'll talk about the North Star rumors. I don't know if they're trying to just do promotion for a certain kind of demographic that we don't really want, or increase our ratings, or whatever at North Star, but. So what that commenter means when he says publicly admitted. So about, I think it was 9 years ago, I did 3 things in the same year that really got people upset.
Hold on, this was 9. This was 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa!
Okay. And it's still coming up. It is every 3-4 months somebody brings this up again, and in my weaker moments, I really start to lose patience because I'm like, come on. But then I think, you know what? If I was out of the church and I didn't believe in repentance and I didn't believe in forgiveness and I didn't believe that people could change, I could be 40 years ago. It doesn't matter, right?
So you are guilty.
No.
I just
well, and that's true. When I say it's not true, what that commenter says, they said, well, did you lie under oath? Because I was in a court case. So I did 3 things that year that earned the implacable ire of gay rights activists. First of all, I was in a reality TV show called My Husband's Not Gay. It was just one episode. It was one hit wonder. Oh. I didn't pick the title. I wanted to call it Straight-ish, but they called it My Husband's Not Gay. And
I'm looking this up, bro. Title. This is hilarious. Okay,
so it was me and my wife and 2 other couples, and then 1 single guy. Okay. All active LDS, all, happily married, except this 1 single guy who's active in church. And he actually goes on a date with a woman in the show. So anyway, it was a whole falderall, a lot of publicity. It went viral so long ago, right? But that made me a public figure. So all of a sudden, a lot of things you couldn't say about me before, I'm now fair game. And there was 120,000 people that signed a petition trying to get TLC to cancel the show. My existing was causing people to kill themselves, guys. So I am like a mass murderer. You should know that. You have like a mass murderer here. Knowing that there's a guy, and imagine that it was
well, that is the logical conclusion of all of their rhetoric. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Because I'm a guy that's faithful to his wife, faithful to his religion, and that's like the most controversial thing in this day and age. So I really upset people with that. And then I signed an amicus brief in the Supreme Court to asking the Supreme Court not to impose gay marriage judicially. I did that, and that got me in a lot of trouble too. And the logic was, look, if you say that the only way to be authentic as a person with same-sex attraction, as a gay person, however you define it, is to be with someone of the same sex, what about me? You're trying to give dignity to these same-sex couples, but you're doing it by saying, I'm not authentic and I'm not real. So a bunch of us that were married to women did this amicus brief. And so that got me in a lot of trouble. Then there was this court case, which was the last one. This is all in the same year. I don't know. I was in a masochistic stage, I guess, in my life. There was a court case bankrolled by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Now, do you know the joke about the Holy Roman Empire? It's neither holy nor Roman nor an empire.
Okay.
Well, the Southern Poverty Law Center is neither very Southern nor lawful, and they're definitely not poor.
Okay.
They bankrolled this lawsuit against, it was called Ferguson v. Jonah. And I don't know much about Jonah. Jonah was like a Jewish organization that helped Orthodox Jewish men and women who, again, wanted to keep traditional morality. And I was voluntarily testifying for a couple of other people named in the lawsuits. I'm not Jewish. I don't know much about Jonah, but I agreed to testify as like a character witness to a couple of other people who were named in this lawsuit. So I wasn't being sued, but I agreed to voluntarily testify.
Okay.
Well, even though they're not poor or lawful, their lawyers are really, really good. And you can make a Boy Scout look like a mass murderer if you're a good lawyer. In fact, I've learned how to do this. Have you heard about these Christians? They have this weird God who was born in the middle of nowhere, and then he got killed. And now they remember this by every week they reenact his death by eating his flesh and drinking his blood in this weekly ritual cannibalism. I mean, doesn't that sound terrible?
Yeah.
Actually, it's true. But is that accurately describe what we do? And in the early Christian days, it's funny, the Romans said, well, they have these love feasts, and they made it sound really kinky, which is pretty rich coming from the Romans. So
they had gay cuddle parties back then too.
They almost certainly did, where they ate a lot and drank a lot of wine. And anyway, so this is what the attorney did, and she was really good. This is the thing, guys. I am like the most boring person. I have the most boring past. I don't have much colorful really about me at all, except I just happen to end up in these crazy places like writing Supreme Court briefs. But I'm a really boring guy. So I'm like, I should be fine here. Well, what they did is, so one of the things they said on the reality TV show, they had this little scene in the kitchen with me and my wife talking, and I'm talking about going on a camp out with some guys. And my wife said, are you sure these people are like healthy and good people? Because you remember what happened in our basement when things got out of hand. And that ended up in the show. So
well, what? Did you have bodies down there? Were you like torturing people? Like, I don't know, dude. I've helped a lot of friends make some low budget horror films in my lifetime. And like, you know, that sounds like the premise of like 3 or 4 act 1 closers right there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Whoa. Holy smoke.
What happened in Jeff's basement, right? So that's part 1 they did. I'll explain what that's about, but I'll tie this together so you can get the horror sounding of it. Then she said, you have a men's group, and it's true. Now it's every other week. But at the time I was meeting in this men's group of like-minded men, want to be faithful to their wives, or they're single. They want to stay faithful to church on the covenant path. And we're just a support group. And they found an email where I talked about how we gave one of our group members once a massage. So they said, and when you're on the stand, you don't get to explain. It's just yes or no. So she says, did your wife say that something happened in your basement, things got out of hand? Yes. Did you give massage in your men's group? Yes. Have you been naked? Have you done touch, therapeutic touch or platonic touch or something? She wouldn't have called it platonic. Have you done touch in with your men's group? And I said, yes. And then she said, have you been naked with your men's group? And I said, yes.
Yes. So, every dude in every dorm in America was just going through those questions being like, hell yeah. By the way, ask me if I've stuck an M80 in the toilet of my dorm as well. And I've done that
yes
too.
No.
May or may have not been in the nude, but
so it sounds like, so people will say, Jeff, you admitted under oath that you are having gay massage orgies in your basement. And I'm like, actually, that's not what I admitted. Let's look at the transcript. Now, I might have the exact order and questions wrong because I haven't looked back at it in 9 years. It's not one of my favorite experiences. Actually, when I walked in that courtroom, I have never felt such evil. I'm not kidding.
Really?
It was the most horrible experience I've maybe ever had. But I didn't. That's not what I did. So the thing that got out of hand in my basement wasn't even me. I had had some friends over. We had a movie. And there was a guy there, and he was married, but he was there with this other guy, and they got a little handsy. It wasn't even that bad. I mean, he told his wife about it, and then he came to my wife and apologized because it was in our house. And despite my reputation, we really do care what happens in our house, and we ask people to be respectful of our values in our house, and we want to hold up church standards in our house. So he did the right thing and apologized to my wife, said, "I'm sorry this happened." And he feels so bad about this. He's like, "I'm sorry, you're still getting blamed for what I did 9 years ago." I mean, it's pretty sad. But so that wasn't even me. I didn't even know about it at the time until he came and apologized to me and my wife. So that's the basement. The massage was one of our group members had a big professional licensing exam the next day. He was nervous and stressed out. So yeah, we gave him a scalp massage and we rubbed his, we were all fully clothed. Everybody was clothed.
Dude,
and it was like 5 minutes.
I was literally at a party the other day and one of my buddies was complaining about sciatic pain. You know what I'm saying? And I literally said, dog, face down on the coffee table. I cleared off the coffee table and then I said, watch this. I dragged his wife over and I took my elbow and I dug into that part and that muscle that connects. And I said, dude, because I used to deal with this really bad. Us tall guys, we get aches and pains, right? And I said, girlfriend,
yes,
like this is a problem that wives have with big guys. They never go hard enough. So you have to lean in, take your elbow down. I straight up like... If somebody would have taken a picture of me, they would have thought I was a pro wrestler giving him the people's elbow. But
did you have your hands? Did you touch a guy's butt? Are you telling me you just touched a guy's butt, Carter?
Yes or no?
I used rubber gloves.
Yes or no?
I used rubber gloves. No, I'm just kidding. No,
oh well, then it's okay.
No, but yeah, like this is all bro stuff, man. Like
yes.
what else?
And he passed his test. He passed his test. It worked. He passed his test. So the naked thing. I was thinking about, we've gone out and done sports things. We went swimming and then we were in the locker room after. So yeah, we were getting dressed and showering after our water polo, or I can't remember what we did, but we did something in the pool. So yeah, I've been naked with them, but you combine that, I mean,
whatevs.
Rarely. So it sounds like this regular occurrence. So let's talk.
I do the same thing when I'm getting out of the locker room after my lap swim in the morning. Sometimes I have support group members who lap swim with me. Does that mean we're having these gay orgies at BYU Idaho in the locker room? It's ridiculous. Like you got to have the context there.
So it sounds like I have like this nude massage or the get out of hand. So let's talk about the touch though. The touch is maybe the one that's hardest to understand. And this is where I do, last time I was on Card and you said, is there any grain of truth in this? And I would say there is.
Oh, well, there always has to be some kind of grain of truth. Like, even if it's just you existing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And touch is really powerful. It is our first language. Nobody ever died from not having sex, but people really have died from not having touch. There's this wonderful story in Philip Yancey. He's a Christian author, and he has a friend who was a leprosy doctor, and he's in India, and he's explaining to this young man his diagnosis and his treatment. And he just puts his hand on this young man's shoulder, and the young man, and he's talking through an interpreter, and the young man bursts into tears. And the doctor, this Christian doctor, is like, why he asks the interpreter, why is he crying? It's not that bad. There's medications, there's treatment now. It's not a death sentence. This leprosy, we can treat it. And the interpreter says, no, he's crying because nobody has touched him in 15 years because he's a leper.
Oh,
yeah.
Jeez, wow.
So just that hand on the shoulder. So touch is really powerful, and that's good and bad. It is dangerous. And yeah, before I was married, when I was figuring stuff out and kind of had one foot in the church and one foot out, I know what they're talking about when they say, yeah, you do this cuddling and you're doing it to try to deal. And, you know, they talk about this with BYU students too, this soaking or dry humping or all that stuff, right?
Oh, I love every one of those colloquialisms.
Yeah,
like, you can
I
just
don't
keep
know
going.
if it's true. You know, I hear that's blown out of proportion. I'm old and irrelevant. I have no idea what goes on there anymore. I did go to BYU at the time. And again, my history is boring. Nothing like that happened when I was there, at least to me. But there is that sort of hanky-panky, push the boundary, see what what can I get away with and not get my TEPA recommend taken away sort of thing, right? And that happens. That happens with straight couples. It happens with gay dudes, right? That happens with all kinds of people. And in my observation experience, as a therapist and as kind of figuring this out myself, that the problem with that is it actually doesn't make it easier. It makes it harder. And that's where this guy's wrong, where he says the way Jeff deals with this is to do this freaky, weird stuff on the side. And that's how he stays married. Well, I know that's not true because when I did do that before I was married, a little bit, it made everything harder. It doesn't make it easy. It's the same thing. I work with people with compulsive pornography use that don't want to look at porn. Does looking at a little bit of porn help it so you don't look at more porn? No, it makes you want more and more and more. So that's the problem with this. There are people that do this. Touch is really powerful. Touch is misused. It is used to groom and manipulate and coerce, cajole people into things they may regret.
Great
and
word.
so all that's true. And I used to offer opportunities for men in the community who wanted to get this platonic healthy touch. And it is exactly the opposite of this cuddling, what people describe as cuddling. Now, I don't do it anymore because I'm a therapist, because I get too much crap for it. But I did do this for a few years and my wife knew. My wife always knew what I was doing. It was with her full awareness, her full permission. And I have a full page, 15-point thing I would have people describe. I would have people have to agree to. You had to initial every one and sign at the bottom, say, this is for.
It was part of your therapy,
touch.
It sounds like, right?
Yeah, it was kind of.
Okay.
Because what I was trying to do was show people how to do this right. Because this is a problem in the gay community, in this where it does get unhealthy and it does get kind of shadowy or mixed motive-y and just gross. So
can I just jump in here and add my anecdotal experience in here? Just supporting what you're saying is, so many of us who have same-sex attraction. And I also know many heterosexual men and other Christian men's groups that I'm in who are starving for healthy platonic connection with other men. Nothing sexual about it. And because that need isn't met, people tend to look for it in unhealthy ways. But I've seen through getting healthy intimacy with other men, and not just physical touch, but spending time having real quality relationships, it's helped
open conversations that are honest.
It's helped me to sexualize men less, and to where my relationships with men become more normal instead of something where I see them as a sexual object. And I know many other heterosexual men who need more connection with their brothers, and they can't find it in a lot of places because our culture has made deeper connection between men gay, which is so sad.
Yep.
It's so ridiculous.
See it. Oh, go ahead, Jonah.
And Timber, you're not just in case anybody is listening to this, I was once a teenage boy. Teenage boys have lots of thoughts. And the best way to stop objectifying women is to talk to women.
Yes.
That's the best way to stop objectifying women, is to have a sister, is to have a mother, is to talk to women, and you get to know them and you realize oh, they're not like these guys making these accusations. They see the world through a hypersexualized lens.
They do.
So it's a
Yes.
little bit ironic that they see any touch, any interaction at all, and they think, oh, scandal must be scandal. The best way to desexualize the world is to look people in the eye and get to know them as real people. And you see that people aren't just fleshy bags.
These are the same people that
they got
think,
souls.
Yeah, these are the same people that think Jesus and the 12 apostles were gay because the apostle John laid his head on Jesus's breast, right? That made it so outrageous because it suggests that one, only gay people enjoy physical platonic connection with other men, and two, that's somehow sexualized. It's outrageous on two, and it's really sad, and it says a lot about the person leveling the charge. And it is sad because people can and do sexualize touch. But I was trying to create something just the opposite. You said, Jonah, last time, you said the Satan will take things and try to constrict our choices or make it so that it's not possible. One of the terrible tragedies of our age is if you're dealing with bullying or isolation or rejection or maybe parental rejection or whatever, and you need a shoulder to cry on, you can't find one. But you can, in 5 minutes, you can get on an app and find somebody to have sex with you. That's it's a tragedy.
Wow.
It's a tragedy. And so what I was trying to do was create a structured, healthy way to provide what Timber was saying that was not, because everybody is in the open. Everybody's there. Everybody's upright. Everybody's fully clothed. And we'd play like I'd spend like half an hour explaining all the rules and how to do this the right way, make everybody agree to them and not sexualize this, not do this with people later that you meet here. I had them agree to all that. And then we would spend at most 20 minutes. We would have 2 songs and we'd switch it up just to give people a variety. And we did that for 3 rounds. So, songs are 3 to 4 minutes. So we're talking 6 to 8 minutes times 3. And then the rest of the time was a debrief. And to Timber's point, I think just about every time I did this, we had straight guys, opposite sex attracted men there too. And they appreciated it as much as everybody else. So this wasn't just a gay thing. I was trying to do it the right way. I was trying to show people there are healthy, safer ways to get some of these touch needs met. But they want to turn it into this sexual thing, which on one hand, I get because that is so common that happens. And yet it is exactly the opposite of what I was trying to do.
Now,
but
actually,
like I say, I've gotten so much crap for this. I don't do it anymore.
Now, I'm sorry, Jeff. I know you've laid out your defense. Okay. But I am actually live. I've got John DeLynn right here. He is quickly feeding me information that I'm sorry, but we're going to expose some of your lies here tonight, Jeff.
Okay.
So in the Discord, Cardin, there's a little graph in the Discord from the Southern Poverty Law Center.
What are you doing, Jonah? What are you doing? I'm scared.
Which is directed not just this proves the Southern Poverty Law Center actually has been after the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and has exposed some pretty important things against the church here.
What is this? It's like
if they said it, it's true.
It is true.
They've never said anything wrong about anybody.
They investigated the Church of Jesus Christ. John DeLynn wants to make sure that we show this, to be fair. And the Southern Poverty Law Center, finding no actual hate, they created a new category for the LDS Church on their hateometer.
Okay.
The bottom of the graph is angels and puppies.
Okay.
Then it's people who follow the SPLC on Twitter.
Okay.
In the middle is neutral, then super racist, and then a hate group. Well, they've demoted the Church of Jesus Christ to being just suspiciously rich. That's the category that they thought. They thought, not hateful, but they don't like us, but they are suspiciously rich. They just want people to know that. I think that's very relevant to the conversation here. The Southern Poverty Law Center is on it. More important than that, John DeLynn's crack team of investigative reporters has found some evidence that's going to be pretty damning for you here, Jeff. So in the Discord, there's a picture of a small little locker card.
Yeah, I see it. It's coming up right now. Yeah, I see it.
Now, if you look at that locker, you can see that this is actually from the White House, where a tiny little bag was discovered that they think belonged to Hunter Biden. And next to it, if you look very closely, is North Star Business Group business card with Jeff Benion's photograph on it. Right there. You can see it right there. Thank you
Busted. Dang
to
it.
Mormon Stories for providing this crack reporting here. They're on it. They're on it.
Crack,
Now the next,
literally crack. Yeah.
now there's more. The next photo actually shows Vladimir Putin talking with the Prince of Saudi Arabia, and if you look just over his left shoulder, you can see just over the shoulder of the. You see that right there. That is a young Jeff Benyon right there, dressed as a sheik over there, dealing with Vladimir Putin. Can you believe this? And we've exposed it here. Mormon Stories is on the case. Now, the last one is perhaps the most.
There's more? How many
incredible.
of these did you put in the Discord, bro?
The last photograph is actually an older photograph. It's kind of black and white. It's a little grainy, a little hard to see, but you're going to find it a little familiar. We've enhanced this image. John DeLynn has actually managed to enhance this image. And it shows here, if you look at that, a figure walking, and you zoom in on that face there, Jeff Benyon. Jeff Benyon is Sasquatch, ladies and gentlemen. He's Bigfoot. He is the one we've been chasing for years, and you can tell in this photograph, you just enhance it. That's Jeff Benyon in that Sasquatch
I've
suit.
been caught. All right, I've copped to it, but I did not. That might all be true, but I tell you, I promise you on a stack of Bibles, I did not have an affair with Abraham Lincoln. That wasn't me.
Yeah.
I didn't do that one.
I've been thinking that this whole time.
Dude, that's funny.
I'm sorry. I'm so tired of listening to you guys apologize to John DeLynn for existing. I'm so tired of you having to say sorry to people like that for just existing and being on the defensive and explaining yourself and those guys, what creeps chasing you for 9 years about this nothing burger is just
it's I think what's going on is, first of all, if you've left the church, it is, you are ripped out of a community. Now, that's partly by choice, of course, but that doesn't make it any less painful or any less wrenching when everything, this whole system you grew up with, is now different. And then maybe you've decided to seek same-sex relationships. And so that's got you. And maybe some members are being mean to you. But even more common than that is your own conscience kind of sets you apart. And so you feel rejected because of your own dissonance with your choices. And then but because you don't have the gift of the Holy Ghost anymore, you don't have the Spirit helping you, and you don't have Jesus Christ to help you repent and feel forgiven, you've got all this pain inside that you have to put somewhere. And so you have to go into blame. And then you have to say, well, if I couldn't do it, nobody can do it. So if anybody looks like they're doing it, they're faking. And that also has a good function with everybody else, because they say, oh, those North Star guys, or Jeff Benyon, he's just full of it. He's a hypocrite. Or if you're a parent and wondering if you should get involved or send your kid there, you'll go, oh my gosh, no, he's going to perpetrate on him because he's a creepazoid, right? So that's an 80s term. I'm really dating myself with that. But
I didn't even recognize it, my man. I thought you just made it up right now. So you do you, baby. Keep doing you.
Anyway, and so that's it's kind of a cruise, because honestly, do these people really care what I'm doing for themselves? They're supposed to be the ones standing up for love and diversity, and love is love, and whatever form love is, it's all good, except apparently the kind they're accusing me of doing is this great scandal, even though look at what happens at a circuit party. Okay. This is way more than anything I'm even accused of, let alone what I've done. But it's a cruise missile, I think, aimed at people who might benefit from what we're trying to do.
Well, I got a question.
They'll just write it off, right? Oh, that's not possible. I can't do that. And then we don't. Then when we miss them, and that's what I think the tragedy is, and that's what's here. Because honestly, I'm kind of used to this stuff. I do appreciate the opportunity to explain, but I have a really good life. I mean, I've got a wife that supports me, that knows what I go through. I have a relationship with Jesus Christ, and even though I didn't do what I'm accused of, I am a sinner, right? I am still working. I am still needing to repent, especially of some hate in my heart from some of this that comes up, right? But I am grateful because I have a Savior, and I have a way to have my sins forgiven and have my ability to help me forgive and pray for my enemies too. So I'm really the lucky guy here. And even though people can throw this crap at me, at the end of the day. And you know, some of it does come back to me. Some of these rumors come back to my ward and my neighborhood. And I'm sure that causes some people to really view me with suspicion, even here, and that's painful. But at the same time, if I can help be a witness and be a testimony for the power of Christ and the truthfulness of the restored gospel, then I'll do it again.
Dude, I have nothing to add to that, bro. Anybody got anything to add to that? Because I think that was absolutely superb, man.
I loved what you said. You said they can't handle the fact that other people can be succeeding at it. Mm-hmm. So they have to tell themselves it can't be real. It can't be real. It's got to be a lie.
It is a threat because then maybe they didn't try enough.
And I'm
sympathetic to that because not everybody is going to get married. That's true. Not everybody, my path isn't going to be everybody else's. So I am somewhat sympathetic to that. And yet I'm not telling them what to do either. And I'm not the one trying to tear down their way of life. Yes, there's happy ways to live out the way you want to do. But I preach what I try to practice, which is I believe the gospel is true. And I believe that marriage is only between a man and a woman. And I believe that, sexual relations should be confined with the legally and lawfully husband and wife. So that's what I believe, and that's what I want to testify of. And other people, I'm not going to make anybody do that. I'm going to proclaim what I know and what I have a testimony of, but I'm not going to try to judge people that want to do something different. I know this can be hard at times, so I'm not going to judge anybody that says, peace out, this is too hard for me. But at the same time, I can testify of how much joy and happiness I have in this. And I'm not faking it. That's not to say I'm perfect. I still stumble and have problems, but welcome to humanity, right?
Yeah. Well,
no, the real scandal is when I was reading about this, Jeff, I saw pictures of your wife. Your wife's beautiful.
Oh, dude, yes. I was going to say the thing. Holy smoke. She's gorgeous, bro. You scored, man. Rock on.
That's the scandal.
You can see why when we were dating, I dragged her to my therapist and said, does she really know what she's getting into here? She's saying the right things. I think she gets it, but
hey,
I don't know.
So I got a question for you. It sounds like you've really suffered from some of this stuff. I mean, you've got a very positive view of the world and of the atonement and of, praying for thine enemies. And you obviously have a really good spirit on your shoulders, or a really good head on your shoulders spiritually. But could you, I obviously don't go into it if it's too painful or whatnot, but how has this affected you? It seems like you speak the way people that have overcome something very difficult speak. You know what I'm saying? So have you suffered from this a lot, or have you been able to kind of avoid some of that suffering? It seems like this is very profound, and I hate it. There's nothing worse than when no good deed goes unpunished, man. And it seems like you were trying to do a good deed for people that were suffering from not having a human connection, and you got the worst type of punishment for it. And I can't imagine you not suffering. What was that like? If you care to share. I
appreciate the question because it was really painful. And I remember sitting in church, all this was going down. I'd just been released from my calling in Sunday school, teaching the 17-year-olds. And because of this controversy.
They thought you got fired because of it, right?
Well, I told my bishop, look, if I'm creating a distraction, I'm totally fine if you release me. And my bishop said, I want to create a distraction. I'm happy. I'm going to stand by you. So my bishop was really supportive. But then the Supreme Court thing, and then it just got so big that I was I agreed with the decision to finally release me because it was just so intense at the time. But I still, even though I know that was the right thing, it was still really painful. And I remember sitting there, having the sacrament passed to me with one of the kids I was teaching, that I had been teaching, but I'd just been released from, and just tears coming down my face as I'm taking the sacrament from him, just feeling so rejected, so like an outcast. And for what? I didn't even do what they said I did. But even if I did, there should still be, repentance. But I'm here being condemned for something I didn't even do. And I did have some really supportive friends. And one friend, I still remember this. He was traveling. He wasn't even in town. He wasn't even in Utah. And he said, Jeff, he's like, how are you doing? I said, I'm fine. And I believed it. I wasn't even lying, but I wasn't fine. And he said, he hung up with me. And then he told me later, he said, the Spirit told me to come home. And he came home and he showed up at my house and we talked about it. We had a good cry. He prayed with me. He gave me a blessing. And I had the most profound experience, guys, where I felt my Savior with me saying, I want you to know what it feels like to be me, and I am bringing you closer to me. This is the path I walked. Now, mine is tiny compared to him, but it's now a special sacred thing because I know a little bit about what he felt like, right? Because he was accused falsely and he was punished for other people's things and he was lied about. And he said, Jeff, I just felt Jesus in my heart saying, with this friend, the Spirit was so powerful saying, now you can be closer to me. You know what? I've always wanted to know my Savior closer, right? And this has actually been a gift because I do feel closer to Christ because of this experience.
Wow, man. Jeez. What do you say to that? Nothing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you've been through the ringer. It reminds me of Joseph Smith when, he's in Liberty Jail and he's like, what the heck? He handled this better than I did, but yes. Well, he also had a chance to think about it before he wrote it down as well. And you know what I'm saying? So I don't think he was probably sitting there like, yeah, me and my brother, we had a really good cry. Oh, wait, no, that's not really good. Okay, I sobbed like a baby no, shoot. The Lord did tell me. Okay, yeah, that sounds better.
Do you guys have any more sheets of paper up there I can have?
Yeah, so.
They didn't have word processors, it's true. I have my moments of self-pity and anger and all that. But when I can remember this, I can see, Peter says it. I think it's in 2 Peter. He says, don't think it's some strange thing if you're punished for well-doing. For Christ himself suffered the contradiction of sinners against himself. So it's not a strange thing if we have adversity because of doing the right thing. And that was kind of my Sunday school thing, probably all the way through my mission. If I do the right thing, I'll be blessed and nothing bad will happen.
Yeah.
That's not the way the promises really work if you
last question for me, and I know I said this once before, but another question came up. I really thought it was very interesting when Jordan Peterson talked about the psychological effects of betrayal that it has, especially on people that are like, everything from romantic partners to business partners and so on and so forth. And he brought up a really interesting phrase where he said, the first time we love out of, excitement, out of joy, out of being fresh, and it's exciting. And then we all get burned, and we can either choose to go inward and become rancorous, or we can choose to love again, but it's hard and nobody wants to get burned again. And so he said, this is what was emblazoned in my mind. He said, the second time we love, we don't love out of naivete, but we love out of courage. I'm curious, when it came to your capacity to love others, to even pray for those that you've usefully spite you. I mean, I think everybody except for pretty much Jonah has had horrible false accusations made about them from largely the same people, and you're right. Generally, you're okay. Generally, it's so hyperbolic and they can't help themselves that, you try and be as good at water off a duck's back as you can. But every once in a while, there's somebody you love that really, truly does get confused, or somebody comes up and asks you and says, well, did you really do X heinous thing that's like, you almost lower your respect for them for having believed it. You know what I'm saying? Or it does hit you. There's always, you can't get into a fight with a heavyweight boxer and not have some of these jabs make it through the cracks. You know what I'm saying? So you do get
sucker punch.
Yeah, you do get beat up in one way or another. Now, granted, over time, my skin's gotten a lot thicker. I've seen it happen with Timber. His has gotten a lot thicker. And it sounds like yours is just straight up leather at this point. You know what I'm saying? But I do worry about our capacity to love others. And so how do you feel your capacity to love? Just like so much of this conversation is about love, brotherly love, platonic love, romantic love with your spouse, so on and so forth. Do you feel like this actually hurts your capacity to love and you had to come around and then love out of courage the second time? Or were you just one of those spiritual overachievers where just after that blessing and after that prayer, you're just like, boom, I'm the next Apostle Paul. I'm ready to go. You know, how did this affect your capacity to love?
Well, it was hard, the betrayal, and I, you know this too because of other things we've talked about. But the hard ones are the people close to you, right? The people that don't know you. Those 120,000 people that signed the petition, whatever, right? None of them have met me. None of them really. The show hadn't even come out, so who cares? Yeah. But what was harder than that, it sounds funny, but is when someone comes to me 5 years later and says, well, I read this thing about you. What is this about? Now, on the one hand, at least they're asking me, and so I appreciate that. On the other hand, I'm like, John Delin's a liar. He's lying about this, and this, but you're believing him when it comes to me. That does hurt, even though, like I say, I appreciate them coming to me. So that's where I do get into that self-pity, and it does take some courage and patience and a prayer. And I guess that's more opportunity for me to spiritually grow. So I love what I hadn't heard Jordan say that, but I like that where loving the second time after betrayal takes courage.
So yeah, I call him Jordan Peterson, but you just call him Jordan because I guess you're on a first name basis.
Oh yeah,
bro.
we're like this.
All of you therapists, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Was he at your gay cuddle party? You know?
Can't disclose that.
Oh yeah. Hey, P.S. Please tell me that this has become a meme now. That this has just become like, because ultimately at the end of the day, that's the best. At least that's what I've found is the best way to just make the pain go away. Maybe this is just a comedian's.
It is a little flattering. Also, when the show came out, this guy named Wayne Beason, who is also a miserable human being. Sorry, I'm being judgmental, but he's made
or descriptive, one of the two. We're not sure.
But he found out about the show and he looks up North Star and he looks at all the leadership and he pulls up a picture of all of us there and he says, "This is the world's hottest ex-gay ministry." So I guess I'm part of the world's hottest We're not an ex-gay ministry, but that's part of his thing. But hey, I guess it's a little flattering to be the world's hottest ex, whatever, right?
It's really true that and Timber dealt with this a little bit when on the Jubilee Media thing, and I think Jeff deals with this a little bit. It's that you guys represent something really good. You represent the fight against the putting yourself in a box and reducing people down to these. You're representing something better than that, and that drives them crazy. They just can't stand that. The Mormon stories has to be so simple. It has to be just so Hollywoodian. Those are evil guys over here and the good guys over there.
Well, and also, I mean, look, we've ripped on John Delin a ton here. Well, not we, you guys have. This is kind of wild. That used to be my bag, I guess, but now it's yours. You know, it's not just him. It's the whole hive mind, man. Like I almost at this point feel uncomfortable with all the John Delin references because I really feel like it's just lazy personification.
Yeah, there's more.
Like the Christian right has done in the 80s, blaming MTV for their divorce epidemic, you know, and it's like
no, there's more.
Yeah, there's
he's just a good example, but there's it's just a general sentiment that people have all over the place that they hypersexualize everything, they reduce people down to these categories.
Well, and they're doing 10 times worse things themselves that are absolutely heinous. Yeah, and then they want to start talking about like Jesus Christ said, what is it? You strain at a camel, but swallow a gnat.
It's strain at a gnat, swallow a camel.
Yeah, you
the other way.
there we go. That's a little bit better. So, anyway, yeah.
I think, you remind me of another. I asked my friend if I could tell this story, and he said I could, so long as I don't use his name. But he's also prominent in this. He stuck his head up and said, "Hey, here's the way to do it. Here's the gospel's true." And the rumor about him is he's had 12 affairs. I said 11. When I told him I was going to tell the story, he's like, "No, Jeff, you got to get it right. There's 12 affairs."
Oh, that's true.
And again, this is to say, and he's married like me to a woman and same-sex attraction. And I said, first of all, we got to edit that out.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We can't say this. We can't say that. I said, that would be bad. So now
I knew who you were talking about, and I'm like, oh shoot.
I wrote edit here, so I've got a note to remember to edit that.
Yeah, so I'll make a big noise. You can see it on the audio output too. Anyway, so back up. He's had I said 11 affairs, but he corrected me and said it's 12. I said, first of all, I've known you this whole time. What am I, chopped liver?
Yeah.
You've never hit on me? But the other thing I said is he's been married for more than 12 years. And so I said, in the gay world, one a year on the side isn't even a big deal. I mean, you're probably batting below the average.
He's cutting himself short there.
Yeah, but he's had 0 affairs, just for the record.
Yeah.
But it's again funny how that rumor just has so much legs, because again, he can't do it, right? He can't make it work. So that's again why that rumor has such legs, even though it's totally false. So it drives him crazy. He's like, give me names. Who are these people saying they've slept with me? I want to know who it is so I can confront them.
Yeah, no, they rely upon vagaries. That's anti-Mormon rule, like number 9. They never have specifics. They rely on vagaries. Here's my last question. Look, I mean, even on this screen, the false accusations have flown towards everybody. Jonah, just give it 6 weeks. It's going to happen to you. You know what I'm saying? I've spoken to so many people that have been a victim of this rumor mill of just cancel culture. I mean, I live down here in Hollywood. There was a whole Me Too movement where for every one Harvey Weinstein that we got right, we just ruined the lives of 10 others. You know what I'm saying? People who are just found factually innocent. I mean, the picture of my high school's baseball team, the school I grew up at, Trevor Bauer, Major League Baseball, kicked out for claims that were found factually incorrect, and Major League Baseball still won't have him back. I mean, found factually innocent of claims and can't get his job back, right? And so what would you say? I mean, you're a therapist. What would you say if somebody came to you and they're like, dude, this is happening to me. The cancel culture mill is coming after me for false accusations. I'm so grateful you have the spiritual background that allowed you to get not allowed you, but like facilitated you getting a blessing and having that connection with your friend that felt prompted to come home, and also have, home teachers and bishops and people that have a moral investment in your spiritual and physical well-being. But if you were just the counselor with somebody there that wasn't connected to that, like what would your advice be? What would your counsel be as a counselor?
You work through the pain. In therapy, we talk about primary emotions and then secondary emotions. So primary emotions would be things like sadness, grief, shame, loss, anger, and happiness is in there too, but you don't need therapy for being too happy usually.
Yeah.
But what we'll do is we'll shift that into a secondary emotion. We talked one about blame. Right. Oh, it's somebody else's fault. Another one is self-pity, or you go back and I did this a lot, actually. You'll go back and try to say, well, what if I did this differently? If I'd have just said it this way or not done this, but that just re-traumatizes you because you're reliving it again as you're trying to say, well, what if I'd have not done that?
Yeah. The what if monster.
You can't go, but that's a terrible monster. So yeah. I just tell people, come back to the primary emotion. comes from a Latin word emovar, and it means to move. It means to shift. It means to change. If we can come back to those primary emotions and be with people who are safe, so they need like a therapist or a friend like I had, that they can just stay with that grief or that sadness or that feeling of betrayal, and just say, this hurts, and not, oh, why does this happen to me? Right? When you have it, we're going to say that, but bring it back to, this hurts, or I'm sad, or I'm angry. If you can do that and do that in a safe place with safe people, you'll move through it.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say, and then you guys can say whatever you want to say, is, you know what I found was actually wildly helpful and was just so profound. Sometimes I get scriptures that really tell me, teach me deep and profound things, and or moving things and so on and so forth. But also, I'm a big movie guy. And I have to tell you, something that has helped me in my life is the Bene Gesserit prayer from Dune. Do you remember that?
Fear is the mind killer?
Yeah, fear is the mind killer. I swear, that mini prayer made for a 1940s or 50s novel that got made into a crappy 1980s movie and finally got perfected by Denis Villeneuve, right? Is like cognitive behavioral therapy summarized into like 8 stanzas. I think it was, I pulled it up right now. It's, I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Just recognizing it as a third party emotion, right? Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. Trying to just like strip it of its peer. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing, only I will remain. That was so profound that I want that as a tattoo. You know what I'm saying?
That is some good therapy. I like it because it externalizes it. It de-identifies or diffusion. They call it an ACT therapy, where you say, instead of I'm feeling depressed, you say I am depressed. When you do that, you fuse with it. And you can't create that separation, and it reduces your agency, and it makes you feel like you're a victim of whatever. So
this has been an advertisement for Dune 2. See it in your local theaters now.
Yeah. So anyway, I know you got to go.
Do we need
Jeff.
to talk about the North Star cuddle parties? Wait,
isn't that what we just talked about?
Well, those were my cuddle parties, and yeah. They did also claim that at our North Star conference, with the full knowledge of us leaders. By the way, we do have a wonderful North Star conference coming up in June. Everybody's invited. We'd love to see you there. Cool. But the claim is that there was, and we do it in a hotel. This year it's at the Sheraton. It was at the Provo Marriott. And of course, people come into town. And so the claim was that we were having cuddle parties, and we assigned them, I guess, based on physical attractiveness, to telestial, terrestrial, and celestial cuddle room. And apparently we leaders were aware of it and winked and were okay with it. So when this came out, I did have to do a search. Now, what my some of my fellow board member says is, North Star is not the homosexuality police, right? Do they really want us knocking on every door in the hotel and saying, what are you doing in there? We don't want to be the homosexuality police, but I did have to. I certainly did not know. Obviously, something could happen if somebody has a hotel room and somebody invites somebody over and something gets out of hand. Okay, I can't say that never happened, but I can say I don't know of any leaders doing that or knowing of that. I asked around when this came out. If anybody listening knows of this and wants me to, if anybody's still in North Star leadership that is doing this, let me know. I will investigate. If it's me, talk to somebody else on our board and have them investigate me. We try to keep North Star a safe place, but we're also not going to be, they'd yell at us if we were the homosexuality police too and freaked out about this stuff too. So we want to keep North Star a safe place. I don't approve of that.
Is this just it sounds like you're trying to make 1 million asterisks for a bogus claim. Is it just a bogus claim? You can just say
it is. I can't say it never happened, but I can say I can't find any truth to that leadership endorsed, supported, knew about anything like that.
So in colloquial
we're
terms,
not okay with
colloquial
Cutler, and we're not
terms.
okay with that.
So in colloquial terms, it's a bogus claim.
Yes.
Okay, there we are. That was,
and I would say, as a former board member with North Star, being in the discussions, we have private Facebook groups. If we know that someone is coming into North Star intentionally to do things like that, we make sure to exclude them.
We will remove them
Well,
or not let them in.
bro.
Yeah, ask them to leave or remove them if we know about it.
well, I got to tell you.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I would be tempted to join your Facebook group if people didn't already know what my face looked like, just to see how I got rated. T-Lestral, or C-Lestral. Like, I don't know. I might risk somebody taking a screenshot of me being registered in the gay support group, if not just to see how they rated me. I got to tell you, that curiosity could kill my cat, right?
Hey, our friend Rex, my dear friend Rex Good, you know him, of course. When he's open with people, sometimes they kind of freak out, especially some homophobic men. So what he'll do is he'll lean in, put his arm on their shoulder, and say, "Don't worry, Brother Jones. I'm only attracted to good-looking men, so you're safe."
Rex Good is a savage. I love it. Dude, you guys are the coolest guys. I'm so glad that we're friends, man. Holy smoke, dude. You guys are hilarious. So, yeah, that's all I got for you, man. I'm sorry this happened to you, bro. You do not deserve it. I think
It's all good.
I think that your thought that now you know just one infinitesimally small part about what the Savior went through, I think that's spot on. And it seems like you're very well adjusted afterwards.
You caught me on a good day.
I caught you on a good day. Yeah. So I'm just grateful you're willing to share and be vulnerable and authentic and tell your story. And I hope that it helps others, because this whole, I don't know what title to give it because there's so many titles: secular, progressive, leftist, modern, woke, cancel culture dragon is just really horrible, man. And mixed with the special sauce.
Gay Inquisition. There we go.
Yeah, and strangely anti-gay Inquisition too.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
The same people that say we want more tolerance are creating problems for me, right, in my neighborhood. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for sharing with us, man. Anything else we got to say, Timber or Jonah, before we go?
I think that's it.
Okay, where could people find you if they want to reach out and know more about your group, man?
Talking to me or Jeff?
Both of you.
You can contact me at beaconssa@gmail.com or visit my website at beaconSSAministry.org.
Rock on to you, Jeff. Where are we going to find you?
And we're North Star, the only Latter-day Saint affirming faith, Orthodox believing place for Latter-day Saints affected by sexuality or gender. So come see us at northstarsaints.org. You can find me on the leadership page or email me there.
Okay, cool. And Jonah can be found on Grindr. Jonah and
I think I know what that is.
Yeah, you think you know what that is? Rock on.
And I think that's a joke at my expense. I think is what I don't think that's.
It's because you're so celestial looking, bro. You'd be rated celestial. I'm just jealous, dog. So anyway, me and Jonah, you can find us on WardRadio.com. For this and more, please check us out at WardRadio.com.
I ain't trying to bring you down, but for real, you might as well give up now.